Back after consultation with Ms. Torres, we've agreed to do a second round of questioning, and I would recognize Ms. Torres for her additional 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you. The claim that somehow the Select Committee didn't investigate the National Guard response to the security failures at the Capitol on January 6th is inconsistent with the facts. As I mentioned, the Select Committee interviewed 24 individuals and reviewed 37,000 pages of documents related to the National Guard on January 6th. Their response, and 46 of those pages are in the final report that was issued. If you search the transcripts of those interviews held with these witnesses ahead of this hearing, you'll see the significant number of questions used for testimony from the Select Committee as their foundation. Just because there wasn't a court reporter doesn't mean that it didn't happen. As I told you in the back room, I was in the balcony while all of this was unfolding. I was also witness to an assault on an officer where the door swung open on balcony that I was sitting. But just because they didn't interview me for that incident doesn't mean that any of those investigations did not happen. But let me just remind everyone, about what the president was putting out on social media during that time. At 2:24 p.m., the president tweeted out regarding Vice President Pence not having the courage to do the wrong thing that he wanted him to do. At 3:13, the president had issued another statement saying, "I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you." He didn't tell people to go home. He didn't tell them to go home. It took many of his own closest allies to get him to this point. The president didn't want the violence against the police or against members of Congress or against his own vice president to stop. The truth is, he wanted the violence to continue until he could take custody and continue to keep custody of his position. At 4:17, he finally posts a video that contained many lies about the election, but finally encourages people to go home. And that's when they finally started home. Those are the real facts of what happened on that day. So in addition to under Democratic leadership, and I know that you want to continue to blame Democrats for what happened on that day, but Democrats did not tell the mob, the angry mob that was armed, to go to the Capitol. Democrats are not responsible for that. The request, about this January 6th attack, we have gone back and forth as to who was ordered to do what. That information is very clear. There were no clear directions, because if there were clear directions, everyone would have moved in unison. Everybody would have been together, putting together those plans that you said already exist. So, Colonel Matthews, you seem to want to respond. Please go ahead.
Well, ma'am, the committee interviewed, again, Command Sergeant Major Brooks, myself, and Lieutenant Nick. We all told them that there are issues with the credibility of several witnesses, that people who have not been responded honestly and accurately as part of the investigation, and that was disregarded. And that goes to the credibility of what they were telling the committee. Like, for instance, the committee says, the Select Committee stated in its findings that our QRF, there was debatable what its purpose was. There's no debate about that. It was a civil disturbance response force. It was designed to respond to a riot.
I think you're missing the point. There would have been no riot. There would have been no riot had the President of the United States not set up the stage and order people and told them that he would join them at the U.S. Capitol. There had been no galley that was erected to hang the vice president if the president had not want them to stop us from certifying the election. You're missing the point of all of what happened 6 months prior to January 6th.
Congressman,
The chaos that was happening within the branches of the military that are sworn to never get involved in domestic affairs. I yield back.